Well, good morning, church, and happy or Merry Christmas Eve. We hope that you're able to join either our online service later today or that you're able to join our outdoor service in the parking lot, the south side of the campus, where we're going to be having a worship time together there as well. But also just spending a great time with your family, celebrating the birth of Jesus. And as we continue on in our looking through the discussion questions from this last week, I'm going to pick up kind of where I left off on Tuesday. So it's seeing that Mary's response to God drastically changing where her life was heading was simply, I am the Lord's servant, may it be done according to your word. And how we need to be praying that God, when you interrupt our lives, may we respond that same way. That's a lot easier said than done. And that's really what the question 5 in the discussion questions is talking about. It says that Mary said yes to God and then took steps to submit to God's plan. Discuss the difference between saying yes to God and submitting to God's plan. Did Mary understand all that would be involved in submitting to God's plan when she said yes? And what are examples in our lives where we experience and struggle with the difference between saying yes and then submitting? That's a lot of hard questions to wrestle with. I think it's safe to say that Mary went through here and she goes to visit Elizabeth and sees that exactly what the angel said is true of Elizabeth as well, that she is bearing a child. And we know this angel visited Mary when Elizabeth was in her 6th month of pregnancy. And so she was a little bit further along than Mary. Mary praises God. One of the first things she does with Elizabeth and Zechariah is she goes into this long, what we call the Magnificat, this praise where she just says things like, my soul praises the greatness of the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, because he has looked with favor on the humble condition of his servant, being her. And then even says, surely from now on all generations will call me blessed, because the Mighty One has done great things for me. She's saying people are going to call me blessed not because of something I did, but because of what God did. And just how incredible, as you look through her life, I mean, everything becomes about getting ready for this baby, about delivering this baby, and then protecting this baby when they go to Egypt, and just how drastically that had to change things. I mean, we know, if you look in Matthew and the nativity story there, Joseph almost divorced Mary before they were officially married. It would have, even in an engagement, he would have needed a divorce, and he thought about it, that God drastically changed their lives. But it's a lot easier to say, okay, God, you know what? I'm in. I'll say yes to this. But then as more things start happening as a result of what he's moving us towards, we might say, okay, look, that wasn't a part of our original deal. Like this is all of a sudden becoming a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Or maybe there's more fears, or we start seeing how other people are thinking of what God's called us to, and maybe that's something we're self-conscious about, and so it becomes harder in that way. Just wrestling with these things. Here's the reality. We do need to say yes to what God's calling us to. That's what we talked about on Tuesday. So if you haven't gotten a chance, go back and watch that video. But it is worth saying yes to what God's called us to. But that's going to take work on our part too. It's more than just saying it. We have to live that out. As I said Tuesday, if we're truly living out our faith, what we're going to find is God is going to interrupt our lives and pull us out of our comfort zones. And it's worth it. That's how people are going to hear the gospel. We hear so much about how we need to go share our faith, and if we really get down to it, I don't think many of us would say, oh yeah, that comes natural. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like, I don't have to work at that at all. It takes work and practice, and it takes stepping up and going, you know what? I need this person to hear this because I care about that person enough. They need to know how much my faith matters to me. They need to know how much God can do for their life. And that's going to take that step of faith. Whatever God's interrupting your life with, it's worth it, and it's going to take work. Be praying that God would sustain you through that he would continue to work through you to allow you to bring that to completion. Because let me tell you, there is nothing more fulfilling than being a part of what God is doing. So hopefully that's an encouragement to you. Hopefully you guys have an incredible Christmas. We'll see you again soon.